Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So this is going to be my Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode 1 video. I hope you guys like the episode. It's kind of like a whole new direction for the show. It's almost like they did a completely new pilot. Like it's not even recognizable compared to season 1. Maybe, even season 2. Season 2 is a big step up from season 1, but this is way, way better. The name of the game this season is all about the Inhumans, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the surprise twists in the episode after we get to spoilers, but essentially they're just weaving more and more stuff from the movies into this. Now obviously it's the first episode, it's the premiere, so they're gonna roll heavy on integration stuff. I'm not expecting movie references of this level every single week, but the ones that they did make were a lot more meaningful, I feel like, than the ones they made in season 2. So just careful for spoilers as we get into it. I'm gonna start with top 5 moments, and I'll try to explain who some of the new comic book characters they introduced are. Starting with number 5, these new fish oil pills are totally the bomb. If you missed the Infinity arc from the comics from a couple years ago, it was a while ago at this point, Black Bolt sets off a Terrigen bomb in New York City that creates a whole bunch of new Inhumans. That was the event that created the Kamala Khan Miss Marvel. That led to a reboot of the Inhumans comic book, and as part of that, Lash was created, the big freaky blue guy with the lightsaber hands that we met in this episode. The other new character, Joey, is not from the comic books. He's an original creation of the show, as is Constance Zimmer, this character here, who's kind of like the face of the governmental antagonist. There are a couple different kinds of bad guys walking around. Some that are evil, some with misguided intentions, and some who feel like they're burdened with glorious purpose. Loki would be proud. The way they explain the fish oil pills, as expected, is that the diviner material that was actually like turning people to stone and ash, like the people who didn't have Inhuman DNA, that got filtered out. So if you're not an Inhuman and you take the fish oil pills, you'll be fine. But like this right here in Joey's apartment in the beginning, that's his cocoon. Remember, Skye and Reyna went into cocoons when they went through Terrigenesis. So this here isn't like the remains of a human, it's just the cocoon that Joey was in. As a device, I totally buy the fish oil pills. It just allows the show's writers to control the number of Inhumans that pop up, because if there were a bomb, like an actual bomb, there'd be thousands of them all at once. As Coulson explained, Joey is the first one that they've been able to help in recent memory. They've lost 5 before that. 5 that this Rosalind character, that's actually what Constance Zimmer's name is supposed to be, 5 that Rosalind's group has gotten, and it looks like they're dissecting them and trying to study them. So even if she has the best of intentions, technically she's one of the villains right now. Moving on to number 4, meet the face of Civil War, Constance Zimmer, aka Rosalind. Not a comic book character, but she did reference some things that were relatively close to the comics. She talks about space exploration in the DoD not eating at separate tables anymore. That's kind of like a sword reference. They're kind of like a space-based version of S.H.I.E.L.D. in the comics, but it's still like an Earth organization based on Earth. The way they're presenting her makes me feel like she's part of some new government initiative that we're gonna see during Civil War. Like some group that's super powerful, just like S.H.I.E.L.D. was, operates with a certain amount of autonomy and has influence over the president. Because the president, who's actually the same president from Iron Man 3 by the way, mirrors the same line that she said on the subway about the laws of God and man. Just to take a trip down memory lane, Iron Man 3 was all about AIM trying to take over with its extremist technology. But it's nice that they got the same actor from that movie to play the president in this. Because there's so much government stuff going on in Civil War, I wouldn't be surprised if he also shows up in Captain America Civil War. But after seeing Coulson and Rosalind's scenes, I just totally want a show with just the two of them. I totally ship it. Aaron Sorkin's KG Banter, coming fall 2016. The funny thing is that Clark Gregg was actually a character on Aaron Sorkin's West Wing. He was like an FBI agent. So he was like a Coulson character on an Aaron Sorkin show already. But speaking of laws, on to number 3. Meet Lash, one of the big new comic book characters this season. And literally big too, not just figuratively. Like I said, he was born out of the new Inhuman storyline pre-Secret Wars. So I mean, his continuity is kind of in flux right now. They might change him a little bit afterwards. But he views all these new Inhumans popping up after the Terrigen bomb goes off, or the fish oil pills if you're talking about the TV show, as an affront to the Inhumans' way of life. They have a very strict tradition and code for living, so he takes it on himself to clear the world of all these new Inhumans. The question is if he's taking orders from someone else, or if he's operating by himself. I'm really hoping they roll some bigger Inhuman character out that he's working for. But just to explain the way his powers work, he has energy conversion abilities, where he can take energy from other sources, convert it, and redirect it through his hands. So that's why it looks like he has lightsaber hands when he cuts through the wall. So you see Lincoln shooting him with his energy projectiles. Lash can absorb that and redirect it, so they kind of cancel each other out a little bit. On to number 2, Fitz is losing his shit trying to find a way to save Gemma from that obelisk. This is his character doing a complete 180 from last year, and I could not be happier. He is so much more badass right now. I'm gonna get a lot of mileage out of the gif of him pounding on that obelisk. When he's talking to Coulson, we also get a whole bunch of exposition. We get some name drops for Pym Technologies, more offhanded movie references. We also find out that Coulson is on his third hand, which I think is pretty cool. All I can think about is Luke Skywalker's hand. I think eventually he'll get a vibranium hand. Nothing feels right so far. And they're actually keeping his old stone hand in a case, which I think is kind of creepy and cool at the same time. And finally, on to my number one WTF moment. Simmons shows up on the other side of the universe, and it turns out the obelisk actually just transported her through space-time. That was one of the things that Fitz was talking about. He said that the obelisk was capable of warping space-time, so it acted kind of like a gateway, but it seems like it has a certain level of intelligence, so it probably brought Simmons to that place for a special reason. But when we see her, it looks like she's trying to escape from someone, like she's running, she's been there a while, she marks her forehead as if she's been there for a while and she's learned something about the people that are trying to track her down. Now what I think is going on, because this is a Kree obelisk, it probably just sucked her to another Kree outpost. She'll probably be a conduit for us learning more about the Inhuman society and their background. Not expecting any kind of royal family members to show up like Black Bolt or Medusa or anything like that, but we will probably get to see some more Inhumans Kree lore. Now, as for Attilan, I think that that's still hidden on Earth. We probably won't see that till the Inhumans movie shows up. But don't be surprised if you hear tons of Guardians of the Galaxy royal family related things going on during Simmons' storylines. And it seems like she's probably not going to make it back anytime soon, like they just teased her. So obviously we gotta follow up next week and find out what's going on. Then her crucible here, like on this other planet, has to run its course. Just in general though, this episode, definite A+ in terms of premieres. Just a dramatic 180 from where the show's been so far. It was a lot of fun last year, but I feel like now it's actually like really, really good. So if you know anybody or you have any friends that quit the show after season 1, tell them to start watching again now. Let me know in the comments though, what are you most excited to find out? Like what is the biggest mystery for you on the show right now? I feel like most of us are wondering what's going on with Simmons. The rest of the episode is pretty straightforward. Like Bobby and Hunter gonna go after Ward at a certain point. May is floating around. She's probably gonna go after Ward too on her own. That's probably why she hasn't come back yet. Rosalind's group is just gonna precipitate what's gonna be going on in Civil War with the government trying to track down, bag, and tag these Inhumans. Most of the movie references were just to like the biggest WTFs from some of the movies, like Sokovia dropping from the sky, Coulson being dead before S.H.I.E.L.D. died, which is, way back to Winter Soldier in the first Avengers films. Some of you were commenting that you heard some Doctor Strange Easter eggs. I didn't hear any, but I was taking notes while I was watching the episode, so I'm gonna have to watch it again to double check. But generally, most of the references were to movies that have already happened. I know a lot of you want to know when that Civil War trailer is gonna drop. It's probably going to be coming in the next couple of weeks. I think there's actually a new Batman v Superman trailer that's going to be dropping soon too. I know there was a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy imagery, especially at the end of the episode. James Gunn is getting ready to shoot Guardians 2 really soon. They're actually shooting out of Atlanta. So before too long, there's going to be a lot of news coming from that movie from the set. Like we already kind of got that with Civil War. They're pretty much done shooting Civil War, but they're just ramping up on Guardians 2. So you guys can get excited about that. There's going to be so much Marvel stuff. Jessica Jones, actually, if you don't know about that TV series, that's airing at the end of November. It's all dropping on Netflix all at the same time. And yes, I'll totally be doing videos for it, so be sure to subscribe to get everything. If there's any bonus Marvel's Inhumans videos that you guys want me to do in the meantime, just let me know in the comments. So while you guys wait for everything to post, you can click here for the latest trailer from The Flash Season 2, just teasing a bunch of Firestorm Zoom stuff, and you can click here to learn all about Marvel's Inhumans in the comics. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.